wrapped up in my sleeping bag, looking out the window at Aaron's house as the sun is beginning to creep over the horizon. And the trees are silhouetted black against the emerging blue sky with the fading stars up in the sky. And I think to myself how much I hate Aaron because he's got it fucking made with this fantastic house of his, this nice little piece of property tucked away out in the backwoods of South Dakota. God, I fucking hate him. I hope he dies. I hope he dies of syphilis. You piece of shit.
So all great. You want to know how humanity advances, how we humans fight off, stave off death and disease and make our lives easier through true innovation and technology. It all happens either on the toilet or in the shower where you're sitting there like, oh my God. And I gotta criticize myself. I'm not even joking. I kind of failed. There was a big nugget, a big golden nugget I left on the ground of wisdom or observation that I should have captured in some of my previous books. And that is basically the opportunity cost young men face, young, keyword being young, due to the power of compound interest. And the point that I wanted to make is I'm sitting there in the shower and Cappy's a little behind on his retirement planning. I'm okay on housing, precious metals, and all that other stuff. But it's not a joke, guys. It's not a joke. It was bad in my teens and my 20s, into my 30s even. Things didn't get stable. Not even good, just stable for Cappy. Oh, Gil, come on, can't Gil get a break? Things weren't stable until about my mid to late 30s, especially with the advent of asshole consulting. Things were getting there, but they were pretty bad. And I never really had the extra money to toss into a 401k. Now, I was a finance guy, and young people, yeah, you got to toss your money in the 401k, power compound interest. I knew it, but there was just no money. Now, there was a mistake I made. In hindsight, it was a mistake I made where I aggressively paid down my mortgage to the point I didn't have a 3 to 6 months micro fuck you account. And that cost me severely when it came to negotiating with banker boomer bosses. I hope you're all dead. I don't hope you're dead. I hope you're suffering from a very painful terminal disease, a long suffering for all you cocksucking bankers out there. And I think everyone agrees because no one likes you. So I took that money that I should have probably tossed into the diversified index fund or mutual funds and all that. What else? But that it cost me in terms of having a micro FU fund, and it also cost me in terms of opportunity cost, where if I had tossed that into the S&P 500 index, it would have gone faster than whatever interest savings I might have achieved with paying off my house. Again, this is why I'm kind of house rich or stable, and I'm not like dying or starving on the 401k IRA front, but I'm definitely behind. And I'm nowhere near those dipshits that came into my finance courses at 58 years old. It's time to get serious about retirement. I'm divorced and I have my part-time social worker pension. It's time to get serious now. What do you make, lady? I make $35,000 a year selling lollipops at the lollipop store. Oh. Well, you're going to work till you're dead. That's not how America works. You're supposed to tell me what I want to hear all the time. You can't. Let's just say you can't even work at the truck stop, okay? That's how bad your situation is, Miss 58-year-old serious about retirement, fixed income lady. All right, you can't even work at the truck stop anymore. I'll just put it that way. As a waitress, that they got good restaurants at the truck stop. That's what I was saying. I don't know what you guys were thinking. Anyway, old Gil, old Cappy, a little behind. So I gotta make. I think was it 55? You can make makeup compensation or makeup contribution, but I'm on track, right? And then while sitting there in the shower with the mint oil, the GF gets this nice oil. She puts it in the hair. Here, let this yeah. And I go back, I think to my buddy, Craig Kamen, which if you want to subscribe to him, he's the Gen X realtor everyone needs. Kamman. And we talk about, it was a while ago when we were in our younger 30s, like, man, if I didn't chase girls, I could have gotten my doctorate, because that was the thinking back then when you're in your late 20s, early 30s, like, oh, you have to get a PhD. You just had to, because the PhD, that was the golden ticket. You'd be set then. I said, I could have gotten like 2 PhDs, and then I'd be on easy street. Then they'd pay me. He's like, yeah, I could have built a bunch more houses, because he was a carpenter in his previous life. Still is today in some ways. And we just, in short, we talked about the opportunity cost. Like, if I didn't waste my time chasing and then bam, lightning hit me in the shower. Holy shit. This was a big exposed flank that I just picked up on now. And I realized I'm not, yes, the title might be clickbaity, choose one, women or retirement, but it ain't clickbaity. It is the most obvious, real choice that's out there. And I'm not saying it from the perspective of, oh, women are going to divorce you and take half your wealth. That's one thing. That's marriage discussion. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, okay, Cappy, no joke, 68-hour work weeks. Always working on something. Now, do you think in my late teens and all the way up to my 20s, I couldn't have worked up over, what is that, 12 years? Let's do some real quick math. Let's just do some real quick math. Oh, that's the notepad. That's not the calculator. Okay, let's say 12 years, right? Let's say I wanted to get 40 grand. 40, 1, 2, 3, divided by 12. That's $3,300 a year. You don't think I could have worked an extra couple? What is that divided by? What was my average wage back then? It was like $15 an hour. I could have worked, what is it divided by? I could have worked 220 hours more per year. I couldn't have eked that out. That's like 1/10 more of a work. A full time is 2,000 hours a year. I couldn't have eked it out. I could have worked a couple more shifts. And that's what I realize is the real cost for you young boys out there. And girls too, because it's the same thing, power compound interest, but let me explain it here. The real cost that women cause you boys is that you waste all your youth chasing them, where instead you could be working the even a fraction of those hours you chase girls, just a fraction of those hours if you chase girls. If you were to go and work an extra shift, work as a bartender on weekends, some very part-time job. If you didn't go to the nightclubs, you didn't chase the girls, and you spent that time instead working and earning up, and I estimate, say, an extra $10,000 a year for 4 years, which is aggressive, but just hear me out. And you toss that money into your retirement accounts, you're set. You are set for retirement. Because in financial planning, the thing is to invest early and invest often. It's not how much you invest, it's when you invest, and you get the power of compound interest to work for you. But the irony or the tragedy or the paradox young men faces, that's when you're horniest, you're chasing after all the girls, where it's like, no, you don't understand what that pursuit is costing you. If there is an opportunity cost for the pursuit of women, it's not divorce. Certainly those are very costly. It's not the emotional carnage caused by that. And it's not that the girls are not reciprocating the interest or not as equally interested in you. The number one cost to young men, and all men, because we're all young once, especially now, is that it's costing you your retirement. Because if you just took a fraction of that time, worked at any old job, right? Now, the math I ran was $10,000 from each year from 18 to 21. Right now, you could mow yards, you could work another. If you double time it, living at home, hell, you live at home and bank your rent. Okay, somewhere there, you are not chasing women as much. I'm not even saying don't chase girls. I'm saying chasing about a half And instead of going to the nightclub, you go work another shift. Instead of going on your Twittergrams or whatever it is, the kids, however they meet up nowadays, you go. If there's a girl you're pulling teeth with to get, to go on a date with you, and she just isn't good, she's not that interested, you cut your losses and you go work another shift. Again, security is security. I love me working security shifts. I love working security. I would not be here without security. If you guys just go work some damn job, make an extra 10 grand a year, and here's the numbers I ran: 10 grand when you're 18, 10 grand when you're 19, 10 grand when you're 20, 10 grand when you're 21. Kind of along the lines where I said, if you just save your money and toss all of it, work 2 full-time jobs, then you'd have yourself a down payment for a house, as opposed to everyone graduating from college and having debt. It's kind of along the same lines, but I was just looking at, with the power of compound interest, if you chase girls half as much as you would, took the time you would chasing those girls, and instead worked a regular old job, making roughly an extra 10 grand a year, and you tossed it in the S&P 500 and it grew at the 12%, and we back out inflation and taxes, you'd have 1.4 million by the time you retire in today's dollars. So it's not hyperinflated funny money dollars. There's your retirement, a nice retirement too. And I was like, damn, bad, Cappy. Bad, not thorough, not thinking forward enough, Cappy. The pursuit of women literally costs you your retirement when you're younger, right? And I don't know how many times we've said this to young boys, like the market value, Rolla has that chart, the market value men versus women. But you boys, you get a little bump in your value in women's interest in you when you're a senior in high school, and whatever freshman, junior, sophomore girls are looking up to you. Then you leave high school, and now you're back to the small fish in the big pond. Nothing is less attractive than an 18-year-old man or boy. You are not missing anything. Most of you don't have your driver's license. Y'all can't drink. You don't have the money to take girls out. Now, of course, probably a lot of you are living at home. Maybe you might have God, I remember, what was I? Was I in my late 20s? It was in my early 30s. There was the Asian princess whose parents were cumulative billionaires. She was pissed off because I couldn't afford Devani's. Dude, just that one alone, I probably would have made $5,000 in opportunity cost, not taking her out, not dealing with her, instead working all that. And I could have tossed that money and the S&P 500 and would have grown. It would have grown net taxes and inflation of about 8%. Ever so roughly. Guys, and retirement's a long ways away. You're right. It is a long ways away, which means the power of compound interest. You got to capitalize on that now. That's not a thing you kick down the road. This is not like a colonoscopy. This is an old man thing where you go get checked for gout. This is, if anything, I would say right now, the most important financial issue to a young man and to young ladies as well. And you girls, you also piss away your money on the pursuit of dumb shit where the return on investment isn't there, namely your college educations and then handbags and shoes thereafter. All right. So you're in the same boat. You just piss away your money on other dumb things. It is behooved upon you. It is demanded on you, young people, men and women, but particularly men, to not be wasting your time pursuing the opposite sex to the extent that you do, and instead just hunker down, make the fucking money. If your parents allow you to live there, God bless them. Toss that money in the S&P 500 or diversified portfolio, whatever you want, because that is your retirement. I did some pretty extreme, but not impossible, where if you're able to toss 10 grand a year into an S&P 500 index fund from 18 to 21, that's possible if you're living at home working 2 jobs. That's very possible. You toss that in there, dude, you don't have to worry about retirement thereafter. I mean, literally, you wouldn't have to worry about 401ks, IRAs, or any of that other shit. Now, you probably should toss some money in anyway just to top it off, get some tax deductions, diversify a little bit. I'm not saying, oh, yep, that's it, 40 grand. But imagine how much further off and better you'd be. If instead, I mean, listen to the old men in the comments section below. Old men, and by old men, I mean just guys 30 or older. You literally have a choice, but you don't know this choice is being presented to you. You can chase girls, which I can guarantee you is going to be a waste of time. Guarantee you. Or you can have retirement. Which do you want? And as you know, with financial planning, whether it's Dave Ramsey or Sue Zorman, myself, Robert Kiyosaki, all these old timers, all these fucking boomers, Gen X, everyone older than you right now has financial troubles. I don't have enough for retirement. And whereas I'm not super intricately familiar with women, I do know, ladies, if you didn't, I'll tell you, I'm familiar enough with girls' finances. Ladies, stop fucking majoring in dumb shit. Just take the fucking money instead and invest it, okay? And if you're going to go to college, please go for something that's worthwhile. All right. That right there would take care of a lot of women's retirements. But men, your opportunity cost, your time, in other words, a young man, you're 18 years old, you're looking at the wages the prospective employers are offering you. They're paying you $15 to $25 an hour, right? Ever so roughly, depending on where you live, right? And you might say, well, that's low. That's not worth my time. Yes and no. You're right, $15 an hour is low, but you shouldn't look at it at $15 an hour. It's how much will that $15 an hour put into an IRA or a 401k or just the S&P 500 index? How much is that going to be worth if you're 21, so it's 44 years? You know what? Let's do the math, shall we? Here, let's do the math. Let's say you are 21, right? And it's $15 an hour, which would probably be on the little low end, especially if you're working 4 years. But let's just do that right now so you can see what the real opportunity cost is. $15 an hour, that's pretty entry level. It ain't anything. Let's ignore taxes and bullshit for now. Let's just get the full amount because we all voted Republican. We got rid of the taxes. But you all want, oh my God, free shit for other people, not me. How can I bleed more money to the welfare classes, everyone? So you're going to make your $15 an hour. You get $15. Okay, that equals, I'm going to do 8% to the 44th. All right, times 29. So equals 15 times 20. Okay, guys. Holy shit, that I fuck. If this doesn't put it into crystal clear focus, boys, this is rank and file. The world doesn't give a shit about. This is the lowest your value is in all of history and all of time, all right? Is when you're 18 to 21. This is you are worth $15 an hour. That's what they're going to pay you cash now, all right? This is the lowest. You factor in the opportunity cost of your time. Do you know what that is on a per hour basis? If you take that $15 and throw it in the S&P 500 by the time you're 65, it's $443 an hour. That's your real opportunity cost. God damn, why didn't I figure this before? I have it down. God, one of the world's greatest economists right here is Thomas Sowell. He's better than me. I grant you that. Where's my fucking Clark medal? Boys, the value of your time, even as a piss shit, unwanted 18-year-old boy, man, is $443 an hour. That is the value of your time. Not a one-for-one, I give you an hour of my time, you pay me $50. It's the opportunity cost due to the power of compounding. That is how you men should be guarding your time. What's the value of an hour of a man's time? $443. Because at minimum, you could go work, you could take that money, invest it in the S&P 500 for 40 odd years at an 8% average interest rate. There's the value of your time. That's like default plan B. That's base level. Before you assess, before you do any analysis, and this isn't in the book of numbers, analyze the ROI in the pursuit of women. I feel horrible that I didn't have this. Maybe I might add an addendum. We'll just put an asterisk and we'll learn it right here, right now. The pursuit of women, like you going on a date, right? God almighty. I could do some math right now. What's a date cost you? You guys ready? Do you want to see the full cost of pursuing women? What it costs you in terms of retirement? Because that's it. That's your base. You can always work more. Toss it in the S&P 500. Here's your true opportunity cost. So let's, God almighty. Man, now that I got it, $443. That's the value of a man's time, an hour. A low value man. So asking girls out, what? That's at least 4 hours of dicking around, talking, chit-chatting, texting, right? 4 hours. Then you got to go out with the girl. All right. Let's say it's just a cheap coffee date, right? Let's just say basic entry-level coffee date. That's what's a coffee date? An hour? 2 hours with your travel there and back. I mean, let's just, so it's 6 hours. 6 hours. Do we agree 6 hours? That's even on the low end to get a date, right? There's going to be times you go out on dates when they don't show up. There's 2 hours of your life's gone. Let's just say on the low end. So 6 times 433, one date costs you $2,600 of your time. Not money. Yes, it's $15 an hour. Yes, you might have to pay $30 when it's all said and done. But you could go on that date, right? And it's going to take you 6 hours of your time. Or instead, you could take the exact same time, work, make your $15 an hour, toss in the S&P 500, and by the time you're retired, it's $2,600. Adjusted for inflation, by the way. This is not like inflated dollars. This is backed out inflation and everything. $2,600. That's what a date costs you. Now, with that in mind, this is where discernment comes in. This is where judgment comes in. You got 2 girls, Peggy Sue and Thelma Lou. Okay, I don't know why we're in the South, but we are. Peggy Sue is ignoring your text. There's pulling teeth. You see her flirting with all these other guys online, whatever. Peggy Sue is a pain in the ass to get out. Then you got Thelma Lou. Thelma Lou responds to your texts. She seems flirtatious. They send in your pics and all that. You don't have time to be chasing Peggy Sue. You got to go after Thelma Lou because at least she's going to show up. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to get laid or anything like that. Want to talk about getting laid? I estimated ever so roughly it's going to take you 40 hours of work to get laid. Right? This could include gym time, which you'd be going anyway. That should be backed out because you'd be doing that anyway. But, you got to go out with about, I got to look at my numbers again. I think it was, I think 1 in 10 I banged. Date 10 girls banging. He's like, man, that's a bad close rate. You're right. It is a bad close rate. Probably pretty bad. All right. Still bang more girls than most of you guys did. But yeah, it is because over 300 and 30 by 30, couple. Okay. So let's say 40 times 443. That's 18 grand, 17,700 of lost retirement wages, income, pursuing one girl to get laid. Do you understand why paying for it is so much cheaper? Now, to be honest, though, you pay $2,000 in today's money to go get laid. That's going to add up too. Hey, you wonder why it's tiring. You wonder, and then when these guys get old, you all get old. You get old. I don't have any money. Oh, I don't know what. Had you not pissed it away chasing girls all the time, going to nightclubs, just half of it. I'm not saying don't chase it all. Right? Just half. If you took the money, or you didn't take the money, you took your time and you made a paltry wage of money and you tossed it in the index fund, you wouldn't have retirement problems. It literally, because you're chasing women in your youth, because of the horrifically bad time, it really is. Hey, dingle, dangle, dangle, dingle. Look what you really want. You really want this treat, I bet. And you don't realize the opportunity cost of you working, even if it's a shit job because it's masked. See, you see it because it's masked. This is some $15 an hour piss shit job working at McDonald's. You don't see it like, yeah, buddy, but if you just stay at home, save your money on rent, and take all that money and put it into the S&P 500, you're retired. And obviously, this is theoretically assuming you would wait till you're 65 to retire. You start tossing in more money when you get like a regular job and they give you a match, or you set up an IRA, after college, you get established, which you have almost 50 years to do. Guys, that's how early retirement occurs. That's how early retirement occurs. All of a sudden, you're like 38, 39, in between all the money you tossed in and you saved instead of chasing girls. It starts to grow. Like, damn. And this week, we get that. You start to see kind of the budding of the seeds. We get it from a lot of clients. Like, Cappy, I'm late 20s, early 30s. I hunkered down and studied and and I'm working an engineering degree or IT or whatever. I'm sitting on 300,000 net worth. Well, we have one young guy. He's sitting on 420. I think he was 28 years old. What do? I'm like, you keep on going. And I know the irony or the tragedy of wisdom is I don't think it can be passed on. Like, you really got to live it for yourself so you learn the lessons. Because, I tell you, look, these girls ain't worth it, or you shouldn't major in this and you shouldn't major in that. Everyone's like, but everyone, including my parents, said I could. It's like, yes, because they don't love you more than they fear having a difficult conversation about the realities of the world. They don't want to hurt your fifis. And they'll ruin your life selling you lies that you'll invest your entire youth in down the road. Shit, where was I gonna go with that? Oh, fuck. It's not what you want to hear. I know you want to think, well, I can get girls and I can get late. It's like, no. I mean, yes, you can, but it's not worth the pursuit. Oh, that was it. The tragedy of wisdom. Listen to me. Please listen to someone who is older than you and all the guys in the comment section below. If I could do it over again, I guarantee my buddy would. If I could do it over again, I'd spend half the amount of time chasing girls, probably less than half the amount of time. With discernment and judgment, I probably could have gotten laid 2/3 of the time that I did with a third of the work. And if I had just, even though I was working a shit ton, 60 days, sometimes 100 hours a week, God, in college, 120. It's insane. I would have been way ahead. Even at back then, the $15 an hour, more like $12 an hour. That's how old I am. I remember making $6.90 an hour for a first security job. Even back then, I would have been way ahead if I just half worked even more, a little more sleep deprived, tossed the money into the standard index fund. I'd be way ahead financially where I am now. And there are obviously other pitfalls you must avoid. Men, don't buy stupid cars. Pay cash for your cars. Don't lease or get a car on credit. Don't get married. Don't get divorced. When I say don't get married, I don't mean I have anything against marriage. Just I have everything against divorce. Don't get divorced, which means you can't get married. Sorry, ladies. You ruined that one. Don't have kids you can't afford. Don't commit crime. Don't do drugs. And then it gets so much easier. It would be so much easier than the path you're going, but boobies. And I'm not asking you to give up the pursuit of women forever. I'm just saying be more intelligent, be more discerning, have better judgment. And then if you just do it 18 to 21, 4 years, $10,000 a pop each, kind of everyone's got to walk through the desert. Everyone's got to do the galvanizing experience. By the time you get the legal right to drink, your retirement is taken care of. Oh, by the way, I mean, you wouldn't be going to college. Okay, that's not happening. You wouldn't be going to college. Or maybe you were going to college part-time. I don't know. But by the time you're 21, now Fine. Go chase all the girls you want then. But if you could just sacrifice, you don't even need 40 grand. Like 30 grand would be more than enough. 30 grand would be fine. You can't muster up 30 grand between 18 and 22. Such a tremendous opportunity cost I did not factor in. It is literally now today, you could choose a retirement, an easy retirement, or chasing not getting. I mean, you might get one or two. We're not talking marriage. We're just talking you dumb young jamokes partying 18. Like, you should never go to an 18 plus night. Never, unless it's a really good band. Never. If you just don't listen to your dick for 4 years, you can have a retirement. Huh? Huh? And then you're golden. As long as you don't buy fancy. Ladies, it's the same thing. Just don't major in dumb shit. Don't buy dumb crap. So there you go. Going forward, I want all you young men to realize that an hour of your time in reality is $430 an hour. That is your opportunity cost. Okay? Not, it's not a joke. That's not bombasticity. That's not exaggerating. That's not stretching the truth. That is your opportunity cost is $430 an hour. So before you go out with some gal who's reluctant, is just going to use you for a meal ticket, or just isn't that interested, shock, some girls just want you to be their cuddle bitch and are never going to give up the sex. Is that worth 400? Is it worth your drive over there? She's 30 minutes away. That's $200 of your time. And we really think about, I remember, let me tell you a story. Gather round, kids. Uncle Cappy's going to tell you a story. Story time with Uncle Cappy. Atham, look this up. I probably talked about it before. I was living in Minneapolis at the time. A friend of mine, she was an older student at the Carlson School of Management, the Carlson School of Management, the Harvard of Hennepin County, the 5th best business school in all of the state, behind all the others. This gal was a student colleague of mine, and she was older, and she says, "Oh, I have a niece that you should take out." And I'm a dipshit. What was I, 19, 20? I don't even think I could drink. Maybe I was 21 because I did have like the first convertible in the Clary family ever. Wasn't a fancy one. I was so proud of it. Oh my God, I got a convertible. I'm rich. Anyway, I paid cash for it too. I should have tossed it in the S&P 500. Hang on. How much would that be worth for goddamn? What was that? Hang on. What would I have? Oh, maybe not that much. I'd have 103,000 more by the time I was 65. All right. Anyway, getting back to it. She says, "I got this niece. You should take her out and set it up." We're calling. That's what we used to do. Is we'd call. I'd say, "Yeah, I'll pick you up. Where do you live?" She lived in this far-flung suburb way to the north called Coon Rapids. I'm like looking at the map, not the internet, the map. I gotta, and they give you directions, and I'm looking at the atlas. I'm like, oh, she's here. And I have the map. And I drive. Boy, it was just shy of an hour. It was shy of an hour to go pick her up. Then drove her all the way back down to Minneapolis. I had the top down, and we're going. And just so you know, I convertibles, can't endorse them enough. They don't have to be fancy, but man, there's nothing like driving through a downtown area, looking up, and you see the skyscrapers shooting up at night, and they're all lit up. It's pretty cool. So I'm thinking, like, I'm so fucking cool, man. She like Cappy's on fire, like, yeah, taking her downtown. Dude, I remember we didn't even get to downtown. Like the first real skyscraper building coming up on it. I can see the intersection. I forget which intersection, but I know exactly where it happened. She says, like, "Can you take me home?" And I'm like, It's like you're almost getting to the gates of Disneyland and then they want to turn back. I'm like, what? I just don't feel comfortable downtown. And I maybe that was a lie. Maybe she didn't feel comfortable with me. I don't know. I think I was on my best behavior. I wasn't even drinking back then. I'm like, we just, we just got here. Didn't even make it. And I turn around, go back down. I do remember going down Washington, hitting the interstate and going north. I so what? 2.5 hours? That what set me back $1,000 opportunity cost. I could have worked that entire night, probably made even more money. Tossed it in the S&P 500, and I'd have, I mean, whatever. With 4, 5, 6, that's $3,000 gone out of my retirement fund. How much are they costing you out of your 65-year-old self's retirement fund? That's how you figure it out. And you take your wage and you multiply it by 430. Or you take the number of hours, you multiply it by 430. I'm sorry. That's what you do. The number of hours you work times 430. And you're going to realize you're wasting a lot of fucking time. Which again gets back to the importance of discernment and intelligence and judgment. Let's evaluate, right? Let's use this as a case study so y'all can learn, right? There's young Cappy. What should Cappy have done? She's up living with her parents. Should have been first rule. If she was an adult, living with her parents in Coon Rapids. It's an hour up there. What should Cappy do? Cappy should have said, let's do something up there. That's what Cappy should have done. You want to get a cough? Should have come downtown, go to a nightclub, get you dinner. No. Way too much investment. Should have gone up there on a Sunday, on a day I couldn't have not been worried. It was at night. I could have worked security. Right? Should have just gone up there Sunday morning, whatever day I got jack fuck all shit left to do. Have a coffee. Jibber jabber. Okay. You're afraid of everything. You're afraid of new experiences. You're definitely going to be afraid of sex. So fuck it. Nice having a chat with you. Gone back home, got on the horn. Hey, anyone drop out of the shifts tonight? Opening, you need an extra escort? What do you need? It's what Cappy should have done. And so, and you're starting to see it, men in fear of rejection, and there's no positive ROI, expected rate of return. Men are pursuing women less. And that's half of it. But you guys just can't sit there on your ass with, smoking pot, doing Adderall, moping about girls not wanting to go out with you, playing your video games. You need to be working. And if you just do it for 4 years, you toss the money into investments, your retirement is taken care of. You're not some 68-year-old boomer. I don't have enough money for retirement. Which is a nightmare. Look, if you could put in the work right, let's not view it as a financial issue. Let's view it as more like a health issue. Okay. If I told you could prevent cancer by working an extra 4 years part-time now, would you do it? I say, look, when you're 18 to 20 or just any time under 25, if you can work up an extra 30 grand between 18 and 25, all right, and you just work, that will prevent you from getting cancer. Would you do it? Like, yeah, the cancer ain't going to come until you're 65, right? And if you don't work, you're going to get the cancer. But if you work now, take the money, you won't get cancer. Would you do it? Because it kind of in a certain way, if you don't have enough money saved up for retirement, that's kind of a financial death, and your life is going to fucking suck. You're going to be poor like a Democrat adult. Well, it's not me, work responsibility. Someone else pay for me, full-grown adult. I am shitting in street. You want to be that? So you want to be a Republican adult, but do you want to actually have some fucking retirement? Do you want to die of a financial cancer? There you go. Stop chasing girls. Live, you got that down. Now go work. And you don't have to, this is not an entire lifestyle choice. This is you go to work 60 hours a week for the rest of your days. But it will ensure that you don't have to ever work 60-hour weeks for the rest of your days either. All right. Link below. Bachelor Pad Economics, Financial Advice Bible for Men. You're like, well, how do I set up an IRA? How do I set up a 401k? What is a 401k? Why should I be interested? Go get that book. All right. That will give you the how and the why. There is also the Book of Numbers, Analyzing the ROI in the Pursuit of Women. I think through the internet and word of mouth, men have accurately assessed women's interest in them, which is low. Men are not asking women out, but to get rid of your fear, like, did I miss out on something? Like, no, not really. Go get the Book of Numbers, Analyzing the ROI in the Pursuit of Women. At no point in time am I saying not to chase women. I'm just saying, don't worry, you didn't miss out on much. There is not an opportunity cost. Okay. And then finally, I just have it linked to my general teachable course below. There's a link to all my teachable courses. I think I got 5 of them now. A lot of which are specifically dedicated to financial planning, financial improvement courses. We have Achieving Minimalism Theory and Practice. That is open for enrollment until the end of the 13th. It's $450. If you have trouble spending money, if you spend more than you make, if you have credit card debt, there's no point in you trying to set up an IRA or 401k because you can't save up the money to do it. So step 1 is to maybe have some money left over. So if you got a spending problem, consider taking that course. And before you say, $450 for a minimalism course, ha, 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 said the guy who's going to piss away $800 on bullshit on his credit card next month. Okay, so if you want that nightmare to end, there's that. There's Achieving Financial Excellence. That's more of an overall top-down view of what role money plays in your life. Because here's the thing. The best way to become wealthy is to need the least amount of money, which is minimalism, yes. But the Achieving Financial Excellence teaches you the real role money should play in your life. So you're not pursuing too much of it. Like, yeah, you want to have as much money as possible, but at a certain point in time, it starts costing you more than what it is that you would like to live your life. So there's that. There's How to Stop Being Lazy. That is a very short, because I got sick and tired of people asking me, I'm a lazy sack of shit, and my life turned out to be shit. How do I make it stop being shit, but still being lazy, not putting in any work? It's like, fuck you. Stop being a lazy sack of shit. And so I realized that there's a course that would probably demand for a course on how to stop being lazy. Oh, that's a short one. And the others aren't really germane. There's an accounting course, like a career accounting course. And then the dad you never had, which is not germane to the topic we're talking here. But yes, please get your finances together. Men, if you don't know what an IRA or 401k is, look it up. You don't have to get the book. Just look it up. Start educating yourself. But Bachelor Pad Economics is a great one. Shark Taw is $10. What if you choose sharks? By the way, everyone, subscribe to Shark's channel. He's got a cool channel about sharks. A documentary about, look, let's say you're working security, right? You're like, I'm bored. I don't want to watch the latest TikTok girl blither blather about, oh my God, the problems. I want to learn something new. Well, have you heard about the fascinating world of sharks? Sharks are very interesting creatures. And Shark Taz has a great channel about sharks, so subscribe to his channel. Wouldn't that be nice to listen to while working a security shift, making $430 an hour? What if you chose sharks? Not in a romantic sense. They're decent people and smarter than most humans. Also, let me know if you got the 2 intros I sent you a while back. Yeah, I did. I just dealing with death, dealing with family stuff, dealing with digital will and testament shit. Got a lot of crap going on. Haven't gone to the gym regularly in 2 weeks. And I'm mentally taxed. I know I seem like a good spirit now, but and it's not bad. It's just a lot of fucking shit. And it doesn't seem to be going away. Like, it just doesn't fucking end. I found out that on my motorcycle, the people who previously installed the tire didn't balance it correctly because it's only wearing on one side. I'm like, how the fuck does that happen? Just shit adds up. Jorge S, $5. You can't tell me what to do, Boomer Cappy. I will marry my tattooed, bold, pierced, feminist, curvy woman and show you how it's done. Just kidding, laughing out loud. Cheers, mate. Yeah. It, I hate to, well, the pursuit of any relationship with another person costs you time. That's just how it is. Whether it's a guy or a gal, romantic or friendly, friendship, it's going to take you time. What's great about same-sex relationships like friendship is just like you just enjoy hanging out with your buddies and because no one's like trying to get sex out of you. The opposite sex, now you throw in sex in there. Well, I won't say which one, but one of the sexes is nowhere near as interested in it as the other. So the entire relationship is founded on a transaction. And be one thing if men are like, yeah, I like sex like I like cheeseburgers. Sure, why not? But no, you guys like it's a drug. It really is important to view that as kind of like a drug addiction and like what it costs you in terms of opportunity cost. That's probably a better model to look at it. It's like, no, man, you got a food, clothing, shelter, you got other shit going on. I hope you. What would that woman's name be? Bull pierced. Oh, you know what? They always rename themselves like Hope or Faith or Charity. Just so you young boys know, you generally want to avoid women with those names because there's no faith, there's no hope, and there's no charity. Just a lot of problems. All right, that's it. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.